And in that hour it so happened, through the prayer of Patrick, that the flame of the fire consumed the druid together with the green half of the house, and nothing was left intact except the chasuble of Holy Patrick, which the fire did not touch. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Irish Myths Storytime podcast. I'm your host, i.e. Kneverday, creator of the Irish Myths YouTube channel and irishmyths.com. Today's story is St. Patrick's Easter Sunday Contest of Miracles with the Druid at Tara, or as the Leinster-born monk and historian Muirchú Macha Macheni styled this particular chapter of his hagiography, Life of St. Patrick, Patrick's conflict with the Druid on that day and of his miraculous deeds. Or as I'm styling it for brevity's sake, the Contest of Miracles. Now, the reason I chose this story is because I've gotten multiple comments on some of my St. Patrick YouTube videos claiming that Ireland's preeminent patron saint conquered the Emerald Isle with the help of a Romano-British army, and that's how he spread Christianity. By force. And while I couldn't find any textual or archaeological evidence supporting this claim, I did find some examples of St. Patrick perpetrating acts of violence against Irish pagans, druids in particular, in medieval hagiographies. Originally, I was keen to highlight the Irish bishop Chiarahan's account of Patrick battling druids, like when Patrick, quote, raised his left hand to God in heaven and cursed a chief druid, and he dropped dead in the midst of his druids, and he was consumed by fire, end quote. And then there's Chiarahan's own reckoning of the Contest of Miracles tale, which sees a druid being, quote, lifted up through the darkness of night almost to the sky, and when he came down again, his body, frozen with hailstones and snow mixed with sparks of fire, fell to the ground in the sight of all. End quote. Despite these fantastic details, I ultimately found Muirchú's version to be more thorough and narratively driven. While Chiarahan's account is essentially a vignette, Muirchú's is a full-blown story. But to be clear, neither iteration of the Contest of Miracles can be considered historical. For starters, both were penned, quilled, in the 7th century, more than 2 centuries after St. Patrick kicked the bucket. But more importantly, scholars agree that these accounts are hagiographical, i.e. they were written to idealize, and given Patrick's sainthood, idolize their subject matter. There's a clear agenda here. Make St. Patrick appear more powerful than Ireland's pagan druids. Ironically, this approach to making St. Patrick look good has backfired, at least with those folks commenting on my videos, because it's likely people are turning to these fictional stories as evidence that the historical Patrick was a violent pagan killer. And while I'm tempted to go into exhausting detail about how St. Patrick's mission in Ireland was a predominantly peaceful affair, despite the church's track record of committing unfathomably atrocious acts, both in the recent and distant past, that's not what I do here on this podcast. If you want to journey down shamrock-laden rabbit holes, go check out my YouTube explainer video, Was St. Patrick a Murderer? This is Storytime. And now, your story. On Easter Day, when the kings and princes and druids were at table with Loy Gera, for this was their greatest feast day, eating and drinking wine in the palace of Tara, Holy Patrick, with only 5 companions, entered through closed doors in order to vindicate and to preach the holy faith at Tara before all the nations. When the pagans had perceived Patrick, they asked him to eat with them in order to put him to the test, as I shall relate. He, however, knowing what was to come, did not refuse to eat. Now, while they were all eating, the druid Lucket Moyle was anxious even on that day to fight against Holy Patrick, and as a start, he put a drop of poison from his cup into the goblet of Patrick while the others looked on in order to find out what Patrick would do. When Holy Patrick saw the kind of test to which he was being subjected, he blessed his goblet in the sight of all, and the liquor froze like ice. Then he turned his goblet upside down, and only the drop which the druid had added fell out. And he blessed the goblet again. The liquor resumed its natural state, and they all were greatly astonished. And after a short while, the druid said, "Let us work miracles in this vast plain." And Patrick replied, saying, "What sort of miracles?" And the druid said, "Let us bring snow over the land." And Patrick said, "I do not want to bring about anything against God's will." And the druid said, "I shall bring it about in the sight of all." Then, uttering some spells, he brought snow, reaching up as far as a man's belt, over the entire plain. And all saw this, and were astonished. And the holy man said, "All right, we see this. Remove it now." And the druid said, "Until this hour tomorrow, I cannot remove it." And the holy man said, "You can do evil and cannot do good. Not so I." Then he blessed the plain all around. And in no time, without rain or mist or wind, the snow vanished, and the crowds cheered and were greatly astonished and touched in their hearts. And a little later, the druid, through the invocation of demons, brought a thick fog over the land as a sign, i.e., miracle. And the people muttered angrily. And the holy man said, "Remove the fog." But again, the other man was not able to do so. The holy man, however, prayed, blessed the place, and the fog was dispelled at once. And the sun shone again, and all the people cheered and gave thanks. After this contest between the druid and Patrick, in the king's presence the king said to them, "Cast your books into the water, and he whose book remains unharmed, him we shall adore." Patrick answered, "I will do so." And the druid said, "I do not want to undergo a test of water with him, for water is a god of his." He had heard, no doubt, that Patrick baptized with water. And the king replied, "Agree to ordeal by fire." And Patrick said, "I am ready to do so." But the druid did not want to, and said, "This man worships every second year in turn, now water, now fire, as his god." And the holy man said, "Not so, but you yourself and one of the boys in my service, together with you, shall go into a divided and closed house, and you shall wear my garment, and my boy shall wear yours. And so you two together shall be set on fire, and be judged in the presence of the highest." And this plan was accepted, and a house was built for them, half of green wood and half of dry wood. And the druid was placed in the green part of the house, and one of Holy Patrick's boys, Beninius, aka Benignus by name, wearing the druid's garb, in its dry part. Then the house was closed from outside, and in the presence of the whole crowd was set on fire. And in that hour it so happened, through the prayer of Patrick, that the flame of the fire consumed the druid together with the green half of the house, and nothing was left intact except the chasuble of Holy Patrick, which the fire did not touch. On the other hand, happy Beninius and the dry half of the house experienced what has been said of the three young men. The fire did not even touch him, and brought him neither pain nor discomfort. Only the garb of the druid, which he had donned, was burnt in accordance with God's will. And the king's anger was aroused against Patrick because of the death of his druid, and he was on the point of attacking him, wishing to take his life, but God held him back. For at the prayer in the word of Patrick, the wrath of God descended upon the impious people, and many of them died. And Holy Patrick said to the king, "If you do not believe now, you shall die at once, for the wrath of God has come down upon your head." And the king was in great fear, his heart trembling, and so was his entire city. King Loy Gera summoned his elders and his whole council, and said to them, "It is better for me to believe than to die." And having held counsel, acting on the advice of his followers, he believed on that day, and became converted to the Lord, the eternal God. And many others believed on that occasion. And Holy Patrick said to the king, "Since you have resisted my teaching, and been offensive to me, the days of your own reign shall run on, but none of your offspring shall ever be king." If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe, and depending on the platform, leaving a review would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to learn more about St. Patrick and are keen on separating the man from the myth, go check out my St. Patrick playlist on YouTube. I've also got a few books you might be interested in over on Amazon. Might I recommend St. Patrick in Your Pocket? 20 Questions with the Apostle of Ireland. As always, my name is I.E. Kneverday, editor of the Celtic fantasy short story anthology Neon Druid, and creator of IrishMyths.com. Thanks for coming out. track record of committing unfathomably unfathomably. Despite the church's track record of committing unfathomably, why am I even putting that in there?